Testing one, two, three. Hopefully everybody is with us. One, one, two, three. All right. Good evening, everybody. Hopefully everybody's feeling well. Welcome to um, All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. Obviously, it's just Garland today because Calvin is not with us today. He's handling some business for All Things Black. And so, hopefully everybody is doing well. It's been a couple weeks since we've been back and recapping shows. It's amazing because most of you guys don't like This Is Us. Most everyone enjoyed Queen Sugar recaps, but we figured we would dive into This Is Us because they did have strong black characters in it, and so here we are. And so we're gonna recap last night's episode, "The Music in the Mirror." And but before we get in that, hopefully you have been enjoying Stevie Wonder Week. This week, All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. This is Garland. We have been celebrating the birth of Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder's birthday is tomorrow, and he'll be 71. And so we've been posting different curated music lists of Stevie's hits, starting from Young Stevie, Little Stevie, to songs that Stevie wrote for other artists. Today's post was about Stevie's ballads and love songs. And tomorrow, we're going to jump into a birthday celebration for Stevie with his genius period. And so these are probably the songs that everybody know and love. And so just check in tomorrow on the All Things Black Facebook page, and you will see the post for the genius period, Stevie Does Genius. And so we're looking forward to that. And Friday, we'll just close out the week with just some different reflections about Stevie. Also, coming up, the Shy will be starting back with a new season on, I believe it's May the 23rd or so. And so we're looking forward to doing that show as well. And so we'll be doing the Shy recaps. We haven't set a day yet when we do the recaps. We know that the show broadcasts on Sundays. And so more than likely, we may move our review show to at least Monday evenings. But we'll see. Stay in tune and we'll let you know what's going on with that. In addition, we have not done a music battle in a while. I did lose my belt. I lost the crown, although I still have the belt, because of voting. I won't go into it. I lost fair and square, so I let it go. Calvin is the champion. I don't have any sour milk about that. And so we are going to be having a music battle sometime soon. The champ has not set a date yet. And so once the champ sets a date, then we'll go ahead and go forward with our music battle. So we're looking forward to that. And so let's jump into it tonight. So This Is Us. Last night's episode was The Music in the Mirror. And so This Is Us returns after a month-long hiatus, and it jumps right back into the deep end with its many, many storylines. This episode is doing everything in its power to make up for the lost time that we had for over a month worth of hiatus. And so the title refers to Beth and her long deferred dream to make a career in dance. But almost all of the main cast gets a spotlight in last night's episode about careers and the way they shape our identities. And so Beth's dance studio, it isn't magically saved by a last minute arts grant. Kate and Toby, they don't suddenly resolve their communication issues. And Kevin's seemingly perfect new family life is rocked by a jolt of self doubt brought on by an offhanded comment from an ex. And so the show opens up with looking at Beth. If you are a fan of the show, you've been following the show, you know that Beth has always had a desire to be a dancer. That's what she wanted to do. And she was dancing as a young person, training to be a ballerina, but that dream left. And so we see Beth as she commits to opening up her own dance studio. But because of COVID, she faces many different loss of the business. And so she had to adjust because of the loss of students and the impact on businesses long term. You know, one of the things, just to stick a side note in it, one of the things I think that, you know, we're going to see as people slowly begin to return to work and return to normal life is a lot of times we're going to go back to look for businesses that we used to patronize before the pandemic, and a lot of those businesses are going to be closed. The other day, I was in the office and I went to one of my favorite lunch spots, which was around the corner, and I went by there and the store is closed down. It's totally empty. And so, you know, this was a casualty of the long-term effect of COVID on businesses. And so, you know, we see that in that early montage of what Beth is dealing with. She starts out with a lot of students on Zoom, and then eventually the number of students piddle down to only 3 students left, and that's not enough to help her keep open the program. And so as a result, she has to start looking for employment or a possible return to work. But we see the best move, what I think of the episode is the image of Beth and Randall temporarily putting aside their problems to enjoy a dance together, which is both deeply romantic and deeply supportive. You know, backed by All My Life by Casey and JoJo, who won the music battle, I might mind you, by this guy against Drew Hill. And so, you know, when I think about Beth and Randall, I just think about, you know, it's this beautiful seeing Black love, you know, seeing Black love on TV, the strong relationship, the strong supportive husband. You know, it's not something that any of us necessarily grew up watching, maybe outside of the Cosby Show. And so to see this connection that Beth and Randall have, and that it not only is resonating now, but it started when they were in college, when they were college sweethearts, and you know how he's kind of been there. And you know, it was a good episode because we know that Randall is a Superman. Randall likes to solve issues. Randall is always jumping in to try to solve problems. But this time, Randall just kind of stood back, let Beth work through what she was working through, and was there to be there for her, just being a silent support. Sometimes that's all you need. And so kudos to that. I love that storyline. I will continue to love that storyline. I was just reading today that although This Is Us has been renewed for a 6th season, it's going to end with the 6th season, which will not broadcast until next year. And so I hope somewhere deep down inside somebody finds some money to maybe spin off Beth and Randall characters to have their own show, because I think that would be an outstanding show on its own. And so we see that, you know, Beth and Randall, they're working through their things, but, you know, we also see Kevin and Madison, they're continuing to plan their wedding. And, you know, Madison's looking for a wedding dress, and she asks Rebecca, who we haven't seen her in a lot of the previous episodes, and she returns for this episode, and we see Kate join her to look at wedding dresses. And as they're looking at some wedding dresses, Madison finds out that her father will not be attending the wedding. We know a little bit about background about Madison. Her mother left at an early age, and she was raised by the father, but she kind of has a fractured relationship with the father, and so he will not be there for the wedding. And of course, she breaks down, and Rebecca's there to reassure her that, you know, hey, you have a family that you're about to become a part of. We love you, you know, and you're going to be supported through this thing. And so, you know, Rebecca always doing those Rebecca things. And so, but then we see Kevin, and Kevin, you know, earlier in the season, as Madison was pregnant, pregnant, Kevin was making a movie in Vancouver with Robert De Niro. And when she went into labor, he walked off the set to go be with her for the birth of his children. And so as a result, uh, he had to kind of work around the schedule of the director and reshoot scenes and everything. And but the film got done, and so he goes to view the film with the director. And after looking at it, the director loves it. He thinks it's the best performance Kevin ever gave on screen. But Kevin hates it. Kevin knows that it's a terrible film. As a matter of fact, his agent knows that it's a terrible film, and so they're like, Kevin, we need to find you something else to do. And so he goes to his agent's office, and they're looking at some different scripts and things for him to do. And but the word's out on Kevin because he walked out on the set of the movie. He now has a bad reputation as being a difficult actor to work with, and he may have to return to TV, something that he really worked hard to get away from when he was the nanny. But Kevin's career looks like it's in shambles, and now his personal life might be too. During a chance Zoom encounter, as he's walking down the hallway of his manager's office, he sees his ex, Zoe, on the screen. And so he stops and chats with her on Zoom. And Kevin is clearly shaken when she points out that he tends to commit to whatever's in front of him, even if that means changing his preferences to do so. And so Kevin, he kind of has to stop and thinking, like, man, am I just a person that just goes for whatever? And so will Kevin stop the wedding because of what Zoe said to him? Seemed like he's in deep thought. Kevin, the history of Kevin has just been like he's always been a pleaser. He's always tried to find these things to show that he's on top or that he's in control. And they've usually kind of failed him. Relationships, marriages, all of those things. And so it kind of really sets something in him. And, Kevin has this certain impulsivity when it comes to trying to live out a picture perfect fantasy of what he thinks his romantic life should look like. And that may be preventing him from getting in touch with what he actually wants. And so we see him sitting on the couch with Madison and holding the baby, watching TV. And, he's really pondering, man, am I just accepting? Am I trying to live out something that's a picture perfect fantasy, or is this what I really want? It's kind of a little bit too late to be thinking about that if you out here getting wedding dresses, but we see what happens with Kevin. And so we see kind of like in the preview of next week's episode, it looks like there's 2 episodes left, that, Kevin is kind of pondering like, man, have I really made the right decision? And am I doing the right thing for myself? Is this something I really want to do? And to me, I don't know if you want to marry Kevin if he's gonna be crazy like that. You gonna fall out because of what an ex told you on Zoom? Okay, all right, Kevin a nut, but hey, he keeps on finding the babes, and so kudos to Kevin. And so our final story is Toby and Kate. Toby, he's still out of work and he's frustrated at home. He wants to be the breadwinner in the home. He's lost his job. He feels kind of, shaky. And, he's kind of still up in the air trying to adjust with being a house dad. And so there's a leak in the kitchen, but of course he doesn't want to contact any of the Pearsons to help him. He's kind of like, I don't feel like processing my feelings. I don't, all these people do these great things. Let me just call my father. And I know he knows how to do these things, and he can maybe come over here and help me, or at least give me instructions on what to do. And so he contacts Dad, and Dad decides to come over and he fixes the leak. And the episode primes us for Toby to have an emotional breakthrough after receiving some warm advice from his father. His father basically say, hey, although I fixed this leak, you have to look for pressure at other places, because pressure in other places could cause leaks elsewhere. And so, this communication issue between Kate and Toby is, definitely going to come to a head, because they're just basically talking around the issues that they're having. Toby feels less than, and Kate, she's kind of found her calling. She's working in a school. She's doing music. She's doing something that's really feeding her and helping her to feel like she's part of something important. While Toby, he's home watching the babies. And so this is something that, we're going to probably see come to a head of how will Toby handle this? Will this push him out of the marriage? Will this push him back into, you know, uh, deeper therapy? We only know in the coming episodes. We got about 2 episodes to figure this out. But it would be good to see what happens with them. Now, as we see in next week's upcoming episode, they're still planning this wedding. It's about to go off. We see that, Kevin's having some apprehension, and we're seeing that Toby is still struggling. And so, we're not quite sure what's in store for them. But I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I'm looking forward to starting with The Shy. That should be a great series. We did um, probably one of our earlier times when we started. The Shy was one of the shows that we reviewed. As a matter of fact, if you saw on the Facebook page, we just celebrated our 1 year anniversary of All Things Black. It wasn't All Things Black then. It was just Calvin and Garland talking about the dance, the Michael Jordan documentary. Because if you remember, we was all scared to go outside. We was wiping down mail. We was wiping down groceries in the house, and just decided, hey man, let's just do something to have fun. And that fun has turned into something that we've been able to have people join in with us. And so, just wanted to keep consistent with our streaming, keep consistent with what we're doing. And so, this is just a very short episode, but we just kind of wanted to jump in with a quick recap. We did reach out for some co-hosts, but everybody was busy tonight. And so, I don't think anybody can replace Calvin anyway. And so, it was good that we were just able to talk and lay our foundation to talk for next week. So I'm looking forward to seeing you, All Things Black, with Garland and Calvin. We got 2 more episodes of This Is Us. We got the Shy recaps coming up, and we're going to have a music battle before the end of the month. Everybody have a good evening, and I'll talk to you soon.